Hi, we're continuing lesson 6-3 with Algebra 2. This is problem 2. We're coming back from doing some workbook work, problems 2 and 3. So on problem 2, we've got a word problem about using radical expressions. In architecture, it says we've got a stained glass window design. The side of each small square is 5 inches. So each one of this is a square. It means that each side of those individual squares are 5 inches each. They want us to find the perimeter of the window to the nearest tenth of an inch. Well, the perimeter, nothing is perfectly on a side. They're all on the diagonals. So we need to know, if we have the length of the diagonal, we know that this is 2 of those, and this side is 3 of those diagonals. So if we have the length of a diagonal, we can figure this out. Well, it just so happens that we've got a formula for the length of a diagonal of a perfect square. And that is the length, or the side of a square, times radical 2. So our length of the side is 5, so it's 5 radical 2. So for this bottom piece, or actually they start with this long side. The long side here, we've got 3 of those. So it's going to be 3 times 5 radical 2, which comes out to 15 radical 2. And now we're going to have 2 of those, right? We're not there yet. So we've just got one side. Now let's get the other, the bottom side. And we've got 2 down here. So that's going to be 2 times 5 radical 2, which comes out to 10 radical 2. Now we'll do our perimeter formula. We know that perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, because we're talking about perimeter going all the way around. So we're going to go from here to there, to there, to there. So what is this? It's 2 times the length, 2 of those, and 2 times the width. That's perimeter. How much fence do we need to put around the area? So now we need to substitute for our length, and we said our length was 3 times 5 radical 2, which was 15 radical 2. Oh, they put the formula in. 2 times 15 radical 2. There it is. And now 2 times the width. And we said the width was 10 radical 2. So there it is. Now we're going to continue to simplify. And we need to look. We've got a 15 radical 2 times 2. So that's going to be a 30 radical 2. And our next one is 2 times 10 radical 2, which brings us to 20 radical 2. Now we have like radicals. Okay, so we can add this to 30 plus 20 radical 2, which is 50 radical 2. So that's the perimeter. They ask us to use a calculator to approximate. When you punch that in, you get about 70.7. So the perimeter of the window is about 70.7 inches. So the got here is to find the perimeter of the window if the side of each small square is 6 inches. So you may pause here and solve if you would like, or continue on with the homework. Okay, our homework is the practice K. Work right now, problem 4. Pause and come back when you're done. Okay, so I wanted to show you, in case if you did the got it, well, the diagonal, which I have the dig, is s times radical 2, s being the side of your square pane, and we say it's 6 here, so 6 radical 2, and we know on this, on the length, we have 3 of those, and on the width, we have 2 of those. So let's plug that in. The length is 3 times 6 radical 2. Width is 2 times 6 radical 2. And simplifying both of those, we have 18 radical 2 for the length and 12 radical 2 for the width. Now plug them into your perimeter formula. When you do that, perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And so you just plug in for length and width. And we get 2 times 18 radical 2 plus 2 times 12 radical 2, which comes out to 36 radical 2 plus 24 radical 2, which comes out to 60 radical 2. I didn't plug that in the calculator, but you're welcome to do that. For time's sake, I'm going to move on. Problem 3, simplifying before adding or subtracting. It says, what is the simplest form of an expression? Radical 12 plus radical 75 minus radical 3. Well, we can't just combine those because they're not like radicals. We have to have, they all are square roots. They all have an index of 2, but the radicands are all different. So there's nothing we can combine here. So what we need to do is put these in terms of like radicands if we can. So that means we have to start taking out things. These are square roots, so we need to get things in squares of 2 if possible. So 12 is what? 4 times 3, and we know that 4 is 2 squared, right? So there's that. Now what about 75? Can we use a square factor in that? Well, yes, 25 times 3, correct? And we know that 25 is just 5 squared. And subtraction of radical 3, not anything we can do with that. It just stays the same, just carry it down. Now let's continue on. So now you know we can separate these out. The radical 2 squared times radical 3, and then they just split this one up here, 5 squared radical 3, and then carrying down still the negative radical 3. And now we know that 2 squared, the square root of 2 squared is 2, so simplify that, times radical 3, plus, and the square root of 5 squared is 5, radical 3, minus radical 3. So now we've got everything in like terms of square root of 3, square root of 3, square root of 3. So now we can just perform the math functions on that, and we get 2 plus 5 minus 1. Don't forget that this is like a 1. So 2 plus 5 is 7, minus 1 is 6, 6 radical 3. And that's our answer. So here's another one for you. If you'd like to work the got it, you have what is the simplest form of the expression? The cubed root of 250 plus the cubed root of 54 minus the cubed root of 16. So you know you're going to have to try to get things in terms of factors that are cubed. I'm going to pause here. And also in your workbook, turn to the 6-3 practice K and do problems 5 and 6. So pause now. Okay, and work in your workbooks numbers 5 and 7. And here's the answer to got it. So you want to get everything in terms of cubic factors. So here it goes. The 250 went down to 125, which is 5 cubed, which took the 5 out. So 5 cubic root of 2. And the 54 is 27 times 2. 27 is 3 cubed. 3 cubed, 2. And then 16 is 8 times 2. 8 is 2 cubed. We take out the 2. So everything came down to like radicals. So 5 plus 3 minus 2 becomes 6 times the cubic root of 2. And that was your got it. And I'm going to end this video here for the next video.